When Ben Affleck was announced as the next Batman in 2013, the internet erupted. Many questioned the decision. Fresh off his Oscar win for Argo and still shadowed by the mixed reception of Daredevil, Affleck was a surprising choice to don the cape and cowl. And yet, over several appearances in the DC Extended Universe, DCU, he slowly won over much of the fanbase, even if his journey as Batman was anything but smooth. Now, more than a decade later, Affleck has revealed that his favorite moment as the Dark Knight wasn't even in a Zack Snyder film. It was in 2023's The Flash, and it lasted only a few minutes. A journey of peaks, pivots, and missed opportunities. Affleck's tenure as Batman spans 5 appearances: Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, Suicide Squad, Justice League, in both its theatrical and Snyder Cut forms, and finally The Flash. Despite initial backlash, his physically imposing and emotionally fractured take on Bruce Wayne fit the darker tone of Snyder's vision. But Affleck never got the solo Batman film that Warner Bros. Initially promised. He was originally slated to write, direct, and star in The Batman, a project that would have seen the caped Crusader face off against Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke in a psychological thriller set partially in Arkham Asylum. Unfortunately, a mix of personal struggles and behind-the-scenes politics led Affleck to step away from the project, leaving Matt Reeves to reboot the character with Robert Pattinson. Despite the setbacks, Affleck remained loyal to the role and returned several times, even after walking away from directing duties. But it was his brief appearance in The Flash that brought him full circle and gave him what he now considers his definitive Batman moment. A quiet goodbye in The Flash. The Flash wasn't the cinematic reset Warner Bros. Hoped it would be. Plagued by delays and controversy, the film underperformed at the box office and received a mixed reception. Still, for fans of Affleck's Batman, the film delivered something unexpected, a subtle, introspective moment between Bruce Wayne and Barry Allen that quietly encapsulated the tragedy and wisdom of Affleck's version of the character. In a scene that follows a high-octane action sequence, Bruce warns Barry about the dangers of time travel. "These scars we have," Bruce tells him, "they make us who we are." It's a line that resonates, not just in universe, but metatextually, a worn, world-weary Bruce Wayne speaking from experience. For Affleck, it was the moment he'd been working toward all along. "Maybe my favorite scenes in terms of Batman and the interpretation of Batman that I have done were in the Flash movie," Affleck shared. "I thought it was great and really interesting, different, but not in a way that is incongruent with the character. I think I finally figured it out. This wasn't the hyper-violent vigilante from Batman v Superman or the gruff leader of Justice League. This was a more introspective Bruce, emotionally intelligent, aware of his past mistakes and offering guidance to a fellow hero." In just a few minutes, Affleck captured a more human and relatable Batman than audiences had seen before. Why it worked, and why Snyder had nothing to do with it. It's telling that Affleck's favorite scene wasn't directed by Zack Snyder, the man responsible for casting him in the first place. Instead, it was helmed by the Flash director Andy Muschietti, who offered a different tone, one that balanced humor, character depth, and heroism. Snyder's Batman was darker, burdened by years of trauma and guilt. Muschietti's brief but poignant depiction offered closure, redemption, and a sense of peace. While Snyder introduced a more brutal and battle-worn Batman, Muschietti allowed Affleck to explore what that damage meant and how it shaped Bruce Wayne's emotional growth. This tonal shift wasn't just refreshing, it was necessary. It showed that Batman could be vulnerable without losing his edge, a mentor figure without falling into cliché. It was also a stark reminder of what the DCU could have been if it had allowed more room for emotional storytelling alongside its bombastic spectacle. The Batman that could have been. Affleck's The Batman remains one of the biggest what-ifs in modern superhero cinema. Described as a gritty noir thriller, it would have explored a fractured Bruce Wayne navigating Arkham Asylum while hunted by Deathstroke. Affleck's script, co-written with Jeff Johns and Chris Terrio, was reportedly deeply personal and ambitious. However, Affleck eventually stepped away, citing creative misalignment and personal struggles. He's spoken candidly about the experience, noting that his emotional state at the time and the franchise's direction made it unsustainable. I had my own failings, significant failings in that process. I wasn't bringing a lot of positive energy to the equation. But you've got to do a little better than that, Affleck said. He also noted that even his own son was frightened by the character's intensity, a revelation that made him reconsider the kind of Batman he wanted to portray. Andy Muschietti and the future of Batman. Ironically, the director behind Affleck's favorite Batman scene may now shape the character's future. Andy Muschietti has been tapped by DC Studios to direct The Brave and the Bold, a new Batman reboot for James Gunn's DC Universe. The film will introduce a new Bruce Wayne, this time a father, mentoring his biological son Damian Wayne, the latest Robin. While there's still speculation about whether Muschietti will stay on board amid creative reshuffling, Affleck's praise is a strong endorsement. If nothing else, it suggests that Muschietti understands what makes Batman work, not just the gadgets and grimace, but the man underneath the cowl. A final word on Affleck's Batman. Ben Affleck's run as Batman may not have unfolded the way fans, or he expected. He never got a solo film. He saw creative visions scrapped and projects reworked. But despite all that, he delivered a thoughtful, haunted, and ultimately human take on one of the most iconic characters in pop culture. His final moment in The Flash may be brief, but it's meaningful. It's not about punching aliens or growling threats. It's about scars, emotional and literal, and how they shape who we are. And in those few seconds, Affleck gave us a Batman we'd never quite seen before. It was quiet. It was heartfelt. And for Ben Affleck, it was enough. A fitting farewell from the most underrated Batman.